Last time on Atari Comics, the Atari Force launched their first mission into the multiverse aboard the dimensional ship Scanner 1. They were looking for an inhabitable world to solve a resource crisis back on Earth. Instead, they got attacked by a planet-sized monster in interdimensional space, escaped by emergency warp, and vanished into the void between realities. We left them gone, nobody knew where. This is issue 3. The title on the cover is Star Raiders, which is the name of the Atari cartridge's comics package. Star Raiders was a first-person space combat game, very advanced for its time, considered one of the best games on the Atari 8-bit platform. It retailed for around $40. So again, this is the comic you got for free with your $40 game. There are 5 issues in this series total, 5 cartridges, $200 to read 1 comic. This is Atari Force number 3. No $20 needed. Let's go. The year is 2005 AD. Scanner 1, the Atari Force's dimensional warp cruiser, is somewhere between reality, traveling through the theoretical tachyon stream at faster than light speed. The crew of 5 is tense. Commander Martin Champion, Mission Commander, Polish-American 31, is trying to keep everyone focused. Dr. Lucas Orion, medical officer, is philosophizing about quantum physics and the strangeness of what they're doing, passing from one cosmos to another. Lydia Perez, pilot, executive officer, is already worrying about whether they'll get back at all. Flight engineer Mohandas Singh notes that what they're experiencing supports his Vedic philosophy, a succession of worlds and reincarnations. Security officer Lee San O'Rourke is holding it together professionally. They are a mission team. There are also 5 people alone in a ship that has never been tested like this before. Then something grabs them. Without warning, Scanner 1 comes to a dead stop. Not in normal space, but in an eerie region of dimensional space dominated by a vast black nebula that blots out all stars. And out of that nebula, reaching for the ship, enormous world-sized tentacle. And at the heart of the cloud, glowing like a wound, a single, massive, angry red eye. Champion activates the Atari 8000 control computer, the ship's AI, and asks if they can fire the dimensional warp engines without overloading the power system. The computer says yes. He says do it. The power surge is too much for the creature. Scanner 1 tears free and vanishes into the space-time stream, spinning out of control into the multiverse. The creature watches them go. Something at the heart of that dark nebula shivers, almost like disappointment. Consider them clockwise, these bravest of a future Earth's sons and daughters. Martin Champion, Mission Commander. Honda Singh, Flight Engineer. Lucas Orion, Medical Officer. Lisan O'Rourke, Security Officer. Lydia Perez, Pilot, Executive Officer. I guess I ought to believe it, but somehow I can't. And yet the evidence is there, Dr. Orion, for the discerning eye to see. Sure, and its pink elephants will be spying next to my way of thinking. In this league, O'Rourke, anything can happen. Throw the scuttlebutt, crew. If we don't keep on our toes, things could get slightly deadly. The year is 2005 AD, if indeed time itself has any meaning on board the ship called Scanner 1. The multi-dimensional warp drive cruiser which propels these 5 skilled and dedicated daredevils through layer upon layer of alternate realities. A billion universes impaled like shining pearls on an invisible string, each existing in an infinitesimal heartbeat from the next. You're right, Lucas. It is hard to escape the fact that we're actually traveling between realities, passing from one cosmos to another. After all, just a couple decades back, this kind of thing happened only in movies, which has gone overboard on special effects. And now here we are, and all we can think of is getting through it, so we can get on with business. Chapter 1. Enter the Dark Destroyer. Speak for yourself, Martin. Or maybe I should have that, Commander Champion. Yes, I guess that'd be better, Doc, even if you and I do go back a long way. It'd help remind us we're on an important mission for the Institute, not a pleasure cruise. Fine by me, but all this still gives me the weirdest feeling I've had since I was a boy back in Detroit. I don't know, it's almost religious somehow. like seeing the hand of God with the stars slipping through his fingers like so much dust. Funny, I look out there and all I think of is fundamental quantum physics. We've entered the theoretical tachyon stream where nothing can move slower than light. That's all. You know, you interest me, Perez. Somewhere beneath that cold exterior, I'm almost positive there's what they used to call a warm and wonderful human being. I've got to remember to thermoblast for it when we get back home. If we get home, Commander. Repeat, if. And right now, with all the stress factors our ship is undergoing in our little hyperspace hop, I'd say that was shaping up as a mighty sizable conjunction. Perhaps, Miss Perez, still my observations convince me the ship's structural engineering is quite sound. Else we would hardly have been sent upon this quest for parallel worlds with natural resources to augment our own. That's quite a mouthful, laddie. Though I noticed that you were after doing a bit of staring as well. I was musing on how these supports my Vedic philosophy of a succession of worlds and countless reincarnations. Maybe we'll find more on this jaunt than the answer to a few shortages back home. That would be quite enough to justify. Champion, what's happening? I don't know, Lydia. All of a sudden I'm having to fight the controls. It's as if Scanner 1 was being slammed by something outside the ship. Outside? But what could possibly... Like I said, I don't know, but I do distinctly recall asking the rest of you glory hounds to strap yourselves in when we entered hyperspace. I fear, Commander, that our curiosity has far exceeded our prudence. O'Rourke, you're the Olympic athlete of this grouping. Think you could stop Mohandas before he goes splat all over our nice shiny computer components? Sure, and what kind of security officer would I be now if I couldn't? But Dr. Orion lucked out on his own, thanks. But Martin, Commander, what's going on out here? It felt as if something just reached out and grabbed Scanner 1. That's just it, Doc. Something did. But I'll be danged if I know the slightest idea of what it is. Even as Commander Champion cries out in surprise, the Atari Institute Cosmocraft comes abruptly to a dead stop. In an eerie sector of a dimensional space where a vast black nebula seems to blot out stars, planets, and all other physical phenomena. Hitting the outside viewer button, he sees that the ship has been seized by a monstrous, world-dwarfing tentacle. Nor is it the only such tendril which reaches for Scanner 1 from the very heart of the dark, forbidding nebula. And within that cloud of gas and dust, a spreading red stellar glow which resembles nothing so much as a huge and angry eye. Try the retro rockets. Maybe we can blast our way free. No go, Lydia. I got them set at full power. And that thing out there still has a grip on us as tight as a banker's fist. Look at it. It's like some enormous octopus the size of a small planet. Uh-oh. Outside sensors show an increase in external pressure. This thing's trying to crush us. We'll pop like an eggshell. Only one slim chance, and if it backfires, the energy release could fry us. I'm activating our Atari 8000 control computer. Greetings, Commander. Trouble? Computer, you're the mind of Scanner 1. You know we're in trouble. Can we throw in our dimensional warp engines without overloading our power system? Affirmative, Commander. Then do it. Hey, it's working. The power surge was too much for the overgrown slug to stand. Champion, we've broken free. There's just one small problem. With the dimensional warp engine running at full power, we can't control our flight through the multiverse. We're vanishing into the space-time stream. And heaven only knows where we'll come out. And in the heart of the dark nebula, a seething mass of inhuman flesh seems almost to shiver with disappointment, as its prey disappears in the blink of the cosmic eye. Planet of the Doomed. Scanner 1 falls out of the hyperspace into normal reality, but the dimensional warp engines are nearly burned out. They have minutes to land or face total disaster. Below them, a parallel Earth. But the skies are a junkyard of ancient crumbling satellites. The computer estimates the structures on the surface are over 15 billion years old. It is a dead world, no life readings anywhere on the surface. Lydia brings Scanner 1 down hard in the ruins of what was once a great city, a deserted, now copper-colored and silent. The landing is rough but survivable. Champion splits the team. He and Orion will investigate a glowing tower in the ruins. O'Rourke, Singh, and Perez will follow a tunnel that the Hukka, a small orange alien creature that has attached itself to Singh the moment they landed, seems determined to lead them toward. The Hukka, this needs a moment. It emerged from a rubble when they landed, a small, round-faced, wide-eyed creature, orange-furred, vaguely monkey-like, communicating only in the word Hukka. It has immediately and completely bonded with Singh, who finds the whole thing both baffling and delightful. O'Rourke warns that splitting forces is poor strategy. Champion overrules her. Perez stays behind with the mech probe to oversee repairs. The Hukka leads O'Rourke, Singh, and a second crew member down into the dark underground tunnels, deeper and deeper, lighting their way with weapons, lasers on low beam, until they hit what looks like a dead end. The Hukka insists it's a door. O'Rourke burns through it with her laser. On the other side, a hangar. And in the hangar, gleaming as if built yesterday, a ship. Not like Scanner 1, bigger, more powerful, yellow and blue, angular and brutal. Something built for war. Meanwhile, topside, Champion and Orion approach the glowing tower. Someone opens fire on them. The attackers are in 2 small ships, hostile, fast, aggressive. Champion and Orion take cover as the ships strafe the ruins. O'Rourke, still underground, refuses Champion's suggestion to fight back. She saw too much of violence used to fight violence when she served with the United Nations peacekeeping force. Champion disagrees. They argue in the middle of a firefight. Then, the ships suddenly flee. Because something else has risen from the desert floor. A third ship, the one from the hangar underground, enormous, yellow and blue. It shoots both attacking ships out of the sky in a single pass. The comic notes that Martin Champion, who spent his adult life around spacecraft, has never seen anything like this. The caption reads, "This is a starfighter, a weapon of such sheer destructive power that words cannot describe it." Champion almost feels sorry for his enemy. Almost. The starfighter lands. The cockpit hatch opens. The pilot says, "Top of the morning, you lads." It's Lisanne O'Rourke. Chapter 2. Planet of the Doomed. For more centuries than humankind has been civilized, this once fertile world in a star system not unlike our own has lain fallow and barren. Its skies, a junkyard of ancient, crumbling satellites. A Sargasso sea of broken dreams. Suddenly, we're back in normal space, Commander. The only question is, where are we? We appear to be in low orbit over an Earth-type world in a dimensional system parallel to our own. Judging by the scattered debris, much of it heavily pitted by meteorite impact, I would say we are the first visitors to the system in more than 2 millennia. Does that answer your question, Master Pilot Perez? I don't know about her questions, computer, but it certainly answers mine. Commander, witticisms aside, you should know we're still in deep trouble. Our dimensional warp engines are close to a burnout. We have to land for repairs soon in the next 5 minutes. Or we face total disaster. You're the pilot, Lydia. Take us down. She's all yours. Aye, aye, Commander. Landing sequence initiated. Down, down, like Icarus after his flight too near the sun, Scanner 1 plunges through the scarlet-hued sky towards a desert as lifeless as the copper-colored plains of Mars. Yet, obviously, it wasn't always so. Crumbling towers glint in the merciless light of high noon, as sad and lonely as the wind-chipped face of Ozymandias. But the crew of Scanner 1 has no time for sightseeing just now. Whim! Scratch! As their ship, built to withstand the rigors of interspatial travel, tests itself against somewhat more immediate difficulties of a desert landing, and is not found wanting. A rough ride at the end, Lydia, but as they say, any landing you walk away from is a good landing. Amen to that, Lucas. Have you had a chance to check for life readings? I've done nothing but check since we arrived, Martin. Use the RISC-COMP communicator link to our Atari 8000 computer back on board Scanner 1. I've ordered our main sensors to sweep this entire hemisphere. But I'm afraid these runes already tell the tale. There's absolutely no sense of life on the surface of this world. What a tragedy to come so far across so many dimensions, only to find a graveyard at our first... Eh? You said there's no life on the surface, Lucas, but what about underground? Good lord, what's that? Oh. Okay. Why, it's adorable. Don't anybody move. We don't want to spook it. Look at the way it's studying us, almost like it's looking us over. Okay. Huh? Okay! My goodness. Call it a wall of surmise, Mohandas, but I think he's in love. Whether you want one or not, Mohandas, it looks like you got yourself a pet. Or maybe he's got you. Laugh if you must, my commander. I agree with Perez. He's adorable. Sure, and he's a darling creature, but has anyone but myself noticed something else surprising? That tower in the ruins. It's starting to glow, and I am, for one, wondering why. Can it be there are still people on this benighted planet after all? Only one way to find out, O'Rourke. We'll investigate. Perez, you stay here with the mech probe and see to the repairs. Aye, Commander. He's paying me back for being so short with him, the overgrown Napoleon. Mech probe reporting as ordered. Well, don't just hover there. Get to it. My, testy today, aren't we? Don't you know it's bad manners to shout at a machine? Master Pilot Lydia Perez chokes back an angry retort and manages a sheepish chuckle instead. But as she watches the mech probe go about its well-programmed business, her gaze and thoughts turn to her 4 fellow crew members. And even though she isn't with them, she shares their sense of wonder as they approach the shadowy ruins of a city that was once great while Earth itself was yet unborn. The Atari 8000 has scanned these structures and estimates their age at well over 15 billion years. You're joking. Nothing is that old. It's incredible. Hukka! My little friend wants us to go that way, my commander. Perhaps he knows something. But the tower is in the opposite direction. Reminds me of an old-style TV game show. Pick curtain number 1, number 2, or number 3. But we can choose to pick 2 curtains. Lucas and I will check out the tower, while we 3 investigate the Hukka's tunnel. Dividing your forces is poor strategy, Commander. Hukka! Humor me, O'Rourke. The planet is deader than last year's politics. What could happen? I don't know, Commander, and frankly, 'tis that which worries me. Down, into utter darkness they climb, lighting their way with a weapon's laser set at low on a wide beam. Footsteps echo from unseen walls, and somewhere in the fathomless shadows, water drips from an ancient leak. At last, when it seems they've been descending for hours, they reach a dead end. Your pets led us on a merry chase, flight engineer Singh. Hope he enjoyed his little joke at our expense. Don't always expect the worst, O'Rourke. Look! Hukka! This isn't a dead end, it's a door. And he wants us to go through it. Set your laser at medium high. Sure, and I'm a step ahead of you, Mohandas. We're burning through. Give it a moment to cool. And then let's have a look-see at what's on the other side. Sweet Saints O'Leary. Hukka. Meanwhile, topside. There's the tower, Lucas. Funny, but from up close it doesn't look quite as imposing as I'd... Zam! What on earth? Someone's shooting at us! Bazam! Is the entire universe mad? Crack! We come in peace without intending harm to anyone, yet wherever we go we encounter violence. Let's save the philosophy, Lucas. I don't think those ships coming out of the sky are piloted by folks in a very thoughtful mood. Duck! Zoom! Well, whoever they are, they could sure use a few lessons in friendliness. Let's say we give them a few pointers, eh, Lucas? Use violence to fight violence? No, Martin. I saw too much of that on Earth when I served with the United Nations Peacekeeping Force. We're not talking about taking sides in an ugly little third world civil war, Lucas. This is a matter of survival. Martin, my friend, I'm sorry, but I'd rather die than fight. Sam! You might get your wish, Lucas. They've got our range at last. Swoosh! And their next blast should, huh? They're fleeing, but why? What could have... For one split second, his heart stands still, and Martin Champion is struck speechless. Then he feels it, even as his eyes register the scene before him. And then he shares the terror of the unseen pilots in the attacking starships as a voice cries out, a voice that he knows is his own. There's something coming up out of the ground! Dear Lord, it's a spaceship! And what a spaceship! Martin Champion has spent most of his adult life around the spacecraft of his homeworld, Earth, and all those years he never saw anything like this. This is a starfighter, a weapon of such sheer destructive power that words cannot describe it. Chapter 3: Star Raiders. Campfire, sunset. The crew of Scanner 1 sits together, all five of them, and O'Rourke and Singh explained what they found underground. Two things. First, the starfighter, the most powerful weapon any of them have ever seen, maintained in perfect working condition for billions of years, by the Hukka while they waited for someone to come back. The Hukka are not pests, they are caretakers. They are left behind as the last survivors of whatever civilization once built this world. Second, a memory jewel, a small glowing gem that Singh found. The Hukka led him right to it. When you touch it to your forehead, it shows you visions. Singh saw the history of this world preserved in the jewel like a recorder. And the history is this. 15 billion years ago, this was a thriving civilization, a peaceful people who had just taken their first steps into interstellar space. They were explorers. Then they met a hostile race from the Dark Nebula, the Xylons. The people of this world had abandoned war centuries before. They were defenseless. They built a weapon, the Starfighter, the greatest weapon ever constructed to defend themselves. But before it could be fully charged, the Xylons attacked with a particularly evil bomb, radiation designed to slay all higher life on the planet. The weapon was never fired. The civilization was wiped out in an instant. Only the Hukka survived, non-native, immune to the radiation, and they waited. For billions of years, they kept the Starfighter in perfect working order, hoping their friends would return. Their friends never came back. But the Hukka led Singh to the memory jewel, and when Orion uses it, concentrating on the moment the Xylons first appeared, he sees something else. The Xylons are not an independent. The Xylons came from a dark nebula, the same dark nebula that attacked Scanner 1. The Xylons are not an independent civilization. They are creatures, mentally controlled by that vast entity in the dark, the thing within the tentacles and the eye, the same being that tried to crush their ship in interdimensional space. Champion is furious. These people lie buried under the debris of eons. The Xylons live. He asks the crew, "Are you with me?" 4 crew members raise their fists and shout vengeance. 1 does not. In the rush of the moment, nobody notices, but the comic does. 40 minutes later, the Starfighter launches with Champion and O'Rourke aboard. Scanner 1, now repaired, stays in contact via the Atari 8000. They warp to the nearest Xylon warp ship. O'Rourke commands fire control. The Xylon ship goes up like a Roman cannon. But back aboard Scanner 1, Orion has more to show the others. From the wreckage of the Xylon warship, he pulled a body. Except, it's not a body. It's an empty spacesuit. Because the Xylons don't exist. Not really. The Xylon warships are drones. Extensions of the Dark Destroyer, the creature in the nebula. The suits are a shell. There are no Xylon soldiers inside. The entire war, the entire civilization's destruction, orchestrated by one vast, ancient, malevolent entity for reasons they may never be known. In stellar space, there are 3 more Xylon drones locate their starfighter. They move in perfect coordination because one mind is controlling all 3. The starfighter is hit. They're losing power. They won't stand a chance against another pass. In the multiverse, Scanner 1 is racing towards the Dark Destroyer. The plan? Fire the probe pod, packed with overloaded power accumulators, directly into the creature's eye. 10 seconds, 9, 8, the Hukka impossibly understands faster than Singh what needs to be done and helps with the connection. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! In stellar space, the Xylon drones careen out of control. Without the Dark Destroyer's control, central intelligence, they can no longer coordinate. They collide with each other and are destroyed. The Dark Destroyer is hurt, maybe dead, nobody knows. O'Rourke, nobody ever wins at war. Champions, we were lucky. O'Rourke, aye, that we were, Commander. It was a madness that claimed us, a lust for vengeance. The crew reunites on the planet's surface. Lucas came up with the plan. Lucas takes no credit. The Hukka is coming with them. Singh didn't exactly have a choice about that. The whole crew laughs. And deep in the multiverse, in the dark nebula that churns like a cloud torn from the heart of night, a red glow slowly brightens, like gradual opening of an angry eye. Atari Force will return in Phoenix this fall. Boom! Like some enormous eagle taking flight against its prey, the starfighters shoot skyward from the shattered desert floor. Champion almost feels sorry for his enemies. Almost. Chapter 3. Star Ratings. Boom! Lord! They're gone! 2 ships, 1,000 tons, blasted out of the sky. But what about this new ship? Are they friends, or a new set of enemies? Ask them, Martin. They're landing. Last time I felt this nervous was when Perez and I helmed the lunar rescue mission and tried landing with dry fuel tanks. What are we going to be facing, Lucas? What kind of creature? We'll know in another moment, Martin. The cockpit nation hatch is cycling open. Top of the morning to you, lads. Greetings, Commander. Hukka! Lucas, this is one explanation I can't wait to hear. None sat around a smoking campfire whose sweet scent reminds some of these travelers just how far they are from home. And when we burned through the door, we found that starfighter in a hangar on the other side, gleaming and as bright as if she'd been yesterday. But 'twas not all we found. And in truth, it's this little gem which is more important, find of the two, I'm thinking. The Hukka led Singh to it as we breached the door. A jewel? What's so important about... Touch it to your brow, Commander. Visions. And you'll see what I saw when I put it to mine. I see this planet the way it was 15 billion years ago. A magnificent, a race reaching for the stars. They'd just taken their first tentative steps out of the solar system into interstellar space when they met another hostile race out of a dark nebula. The Xylons. These people were peaceful. They had abandoned war centuries before and were defenseless before the Xylons' first attack. As the Xylons pulled back to regroup for a final devastating assault, the greatest minds of the planet assembled to build a weapon. Aiding them were the Hukka, a mutant life form from another solar system discovered during an early exploration. At last, the weapon was complete, needing only a charging of its nucleonic batteries to bring it to full battle readiness. At space, the weapon would recharge at a star base established by early explorers in another part of the galaxy. But it never had a chance. For in those crucial hours before the weapon was fully charged, the Xylons attacked. In one instant, the effort of millennia, the achievement of eons, was wiped out. Boom! 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 Why the Xylons did what they did, none can say. Boom! But none but the Hukka lived to tell the tale. You see, the Xylons used a particularly evil kind of bomb. One whose specific radiation was designed to slay all higher native life upon the planet, leaving it a wasteland for all eternity. And so it's remained for all these billions of years a dead world with only the Hukka left to bear witness to the lost glory of a lost race. All these years they've kept the weapon, the Star Raider, in perfect working condition. They've been waiting. Waiting for their friends to return, yet knowing they never would. The Hukka led us right to it, Commander. These people lie buried under the debris of eons, and the Xylons live. This world cries out for vengeance. O'Rourke, Singh, Perez, Orion, are you with me? Vengeance! And in the resulting rush of activity, none notices that one among them has not sealed himself to their pack, but rather stands bewildered, as if suddenly finding himself lost among strangers. 40 minutes later, Alright, Lydia, that's a liftoff. We'll remain in in contact with the rest of you aboard Scanner 1 via the Atari 8000. But right now we're preparing to jump into hyperdrive. Roger, Commander. Good hunting. And as the planet drops away behind them like a jewel in a well of black oil, we'll use this long-range scanner to pinpoint the nearest Xylon warship on our map screen. Ah, I'm picking up our image at coordinates A-2. And something else is coming in, O'Rourke. The Xylons at coordinates B-1. Set the warp controls at warp factor 1. Warp. Zoom. They're on our screens, Commander. Sure, and 'tis a lovely sight, like a marauding wolf at bay with me with a loaded shotgun. You're commanding fire control, O'Rourke. When you're ready. Fire! Boom! Blessed hills of O'Leary, did you see that, Commander? One round and midships, and up he went like a Roman candle. A few ghosts will rust easier tonight, O'Rourke. Let's keep on hunting. Meanwhile, back aboard Scanner 1. Perez, sing. I've got something to show you. Doctor, I'm not easily shocked, but you shock me. So it would appear. I found it in the wreckage of one of the Xylon warships. Is that a dead body? Hucka! And as you can see, it is not all what it seems to be. An empty spacesuit. Is this a joke? Dr. Orion isn't laughing, Lydia. You are saying the Xylons don't exist. Not quite. Let me explain further. I used that memory jewel of O'Rourke discovered, and I concentrated on replaying the moment when the Xylons first appeared in the galaxy. You recall, they came from a dark nebula. Same creature which attacked us in interdimensional space. Of course, the Xylons are creatures, mentally controlled by the monstrosity beyond the stars. Hucka! Hucka! That means Martin and Lee San are fighting a hidden enemy. Orion, Sing, strap down. Vroom! We gotta warp into interdimensional space and track down that dark destroyer, or our friends fall right into its trap. Only one question, Master Pilot. If we find this creature again, what then? Mohandas, I wish I knew. Interstellar space, a dozen light years from Galaxy Quadrant A2. Starbase ahead, O'Rourke. A plan to re-energize before we engage another, eh? The Xylons, Commander. They found us. 3 of them. No time to wonder how. Brace yourself. We're taking evasive action. Blam! Kazam! Wham! No good, Commander. We're hit. The way they maneuvered in total coordination is as if one mind were controlling all 3 warships. Now they're closing in. And if they hit us that way again, we won't stand a chance. Space outside space. Time outside time. This is the interdimensional limbo known as the multiverse, and through its unreality scanner, 1 plunges like a dolphin through troubled water. I've rechecked the plan twice with our Atari 8000 computer, saying, it's our only hope. You heard the doctor, Mohandas. Hurry! We've found the Dark Destroyer, and it's only a matter of time before it finds us. Lord help us then. Dr. Orion, Pilot Perez, I've reached the probe pod as planned. The power accumulators are fully charged. As instructed, I'm setting them to overload in 60 seconds. Or rather, the Hucka is. He seems to understand what we're trying to do, and his hands are even faster than mine. Hucka Hucka! That creature, so fantastic, so evil. This close, it's like looking into the eye of Satan himself. If this monster is controlling the Xylons, then it destroyed an entire race for no reason. How else would you define evil, Doctor? Sing! Here at the ready, this in, go! And in stellar space, we're losing power. They're playing with us, Commander. A cosmic game of cat and mouse. It'll be finished soon, O'Rourke. Bazam! Another shot like that, we're dead. Scanner 1. 10 seconds to overload and counting. What are you waiting for, Perez? Fire the probe pod! Fire! 6, 7, 6. Steady, steady. I'm aiming for the eye. Locked on target. 5, 4. Fire! 3, 2, 1. Boom! Stellar space. Commander, am I dreaming? If you are, we're sharing the same dream, O'Rourke. The Xylons are careening out of control. If they don't straighten their course in the next 6 seconds, they'll collide. Too late! Those flashes on the monitor mean we're safe. But how and why, I couldn't begin to guess. We're lucky, O'Rourke. Aye, that we were, Commander. It was a madness that claimed us, a lust for vengeance. I think we learned our lesson, O'Rourke. Nobody ever wins at war. And so, we wondered who'd get back first, Commander. Looks like we beat you. Martin, my friend, we got a story for you. Lucas, you came up with a plan. The honor is all yours. Why the smug looks? Somebody better explain. One brief explanation later. So when the Dark Destroyer was blasted, the Xylons just collapsed? If you say so, Lucas, I say it's time to go. Ah, Commander, the Hukka? You two are so attached to each other, Sing. Well, he might as well tag along. As if we had a choice. Hukka, Hukka! And as the crew of the Scanner 1 joins together in heartfelt laughter somewhere in the multiverse, there a dark nebula churns like a cloud torn from the heart of night. A red glow suddenly brightens, like the gradual opening of an angry eye. The Atari Force will return in Phoenix, coming this fall. And now for an Atari Force fact file. Number 1. Commander Martin Champion. Name Martin Champion. Age 31. Height 6'3". Weight 105 kilos. Nationality Polish American. Previous accomplishments: Champion won 3 gold medals in the 1996 Olympics. He co-commanded the Moon Colony Rescue Mission in 1999. He commanded the second Mars manned mission 2002 to 2004. He has degrees from Caltech, MIT, and Princeton. He is a graduate of the Space Academy at Colorado Springs. Position: Mission Commander. Remarks: in any other man, Champion's accomplishments might have resulted in the creation of an overbearing ego. Champion remains remarkably unaffected, and at times seems almost boyish. Yet his cool, confident manner makes him a perfect leader and inspires the loyalty of his fellow explorers. So, the Star Raiders connection. In the game, you're a pilot and starfighter. You have a tactical map with a grid. You warp between quadrants. You find Xylon warp ships. You shoot them. That's Star Raiders. In the comic, the starfighter is a weapon built by a dead civilization to defend against the Xylons, who turn out to be drones controlled by an ancient cosmic entity that's still out there, still watching, still angry. The game does not tell you any of that. The game has a grid and some ships to shoot, but Conway and Thomas built an entire mythology around it. 15 billion years of history, a genocide, a creature older than stars, a crew that almost lost themselves to vengeance and found their way back. And that creature, the Dark Destroyer, the tentacled thing with the glowing red eye, is still alive. The last panel makes that very clear. Whatever they did to it, it wasn't enough. Oh, and if you're paying attention during the chapter summaries, one crew member didn't raise their fist when Champion asked who was with him for vengeance. One crew member stood apart, bewildered, as if suddenly lost among strangers. That's the setup for Phoenix. Back page of this issue, a Sword Quest teaser. Full pink cover, a sword stuck in a mound of rubble, glowing. Coming soon from Atari and DC Comics. Sword Quest was the series after this one. 4 games, 4 comics, real world treasure hunt prizes. That's a whole other story. This has been Atari Comics on SL Tonight. I'm Felix. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.